Afternoon, guys. So, my Glasgow High Court sentencing the Glasgow Satanic Pedophile ring's happening today. So, I've turned up for a family member, one of the victims. This has went on for too long. 5 years these children have been given for they gave their first statements. 5 years later, and there's still no sentencing for these paedophiles. There's a whole lot more to this case, guys. Like, the media are only covering certain parts of it. The media are only covering the parts like the satanic ritual abuse in this case, where these children were forced to take part in satanic rituals, where these paedophiles posed as witches and wizards and forced these children to use Ouija boards, and they were summoning demons. The kids' report said the witches and the wizards held them down while they were gang raped. It was video recorded. Also, these children were trafficked in houses all over Glasgow, right? It wasn't just there. They were sold to people that came to that house for drugs and stuff, asked if they wanted to have sex with their wains and all. There's a lot in this case, right, that's been hidden for the mainstream media, but the reality is the 5 years of these children's life. The oldest child in this case is now almost 18. She was 13 when she first gave statements, so not only did she have her childhood stole for her, she also had her whole teenage years ripped for her. And we're still going on the day, right? So we're praying and we're hoping that they get sentenced in the day, and I'll keep these up to date. Right, guys, so I'm going to need to go back in. Also, what the media isn't reporting is the failings by the police and social work. There was 45 reports to Police Scotland made early years this was happening. 45 different people between schools, people getting drugs at the property, contacting them saying they were offered children. None of this was ever followed up in, right? So there's been a massive cover-up and all. Like, there's been a massive cover-up, guys, here, right? Not only that, I want to talk about, see, while this case was going on, there was doctors, social workers and police officers named in cases in Ayrshire, which none of them have still been charged, right? So I'll update you another time about that. But today it's about justice for these children, right, guys? These children have waited 5 years of torment and torture. They've also been ripped apart. They were initially ripped apart because they were told it was so they couldn't corroborate any evidence and speak to each other. So, yeah, the children were all separated, right? And it was for the reasons being, it was so they couldn't corroborate stories and stuff, right? But the thing is, 3 years. So for 3 years this went on, the kids were separated, right? It's now been 2 years since that, almost. And the kids are not being allowed to see each other. They've been split up into different foster families, and the oldest is saying she's not allowed access to her siblings, right? So that's something else we're going to need to deal with after this. Hi guys, right, that's us back at the court. We've got Robert here, we've got Tony who's not coming on, she's camera shy. But guys, it's just to let you know, I'm just coming closer, Robert, in case it doesn't pick it up for whatever reason. Right, that's the Glasgow Pedo ring have been sentenced. I'm not going to pass my own comment or judgment, I just want to put this out there, guys, right? And so Paul Brannan get 15 years with lifelong restrictions. Leslie Williams get 14 years with lifelong restrictions. I'll read John Clark out last. Elaine Lannery get 17 years with lifelong restrictions. Leslie Williams get 14 years with lifelong restrictions. Paul Brannigan get 15 years with lifelong restrictions. Where's Scott Forbes? Scott Forbes get 8 years with lifelong restrictions. So that's the Glasgow Satanic Pedophile ring being sentenced, guys. To me, the sentences are shocking. The judge was saying if they never had lifelong restrictions, that they would have basically got more than double the sentences. But because they've got lifelong restrictions, that's the sentencing. Also, John Clark get 10 years with lifelong restrictions, but it was said that he may never be released. It's pending like parole boards and stuff. So, guys, I'm going to just see if Robert wants to say a wee word here.
Well, people, I'm disgusted what I heard in that court. And the sentence is not appropriate for the crime, because these young people that's been abused, mentally tortured and whatever else have got to live with that for the rest of their lives. No sentence in there apart from life without parole is good enough, or the death penalty, if I had it here, would be better. But we've not got that here. It's diabolical. It seems to be that paedophiles and abusers are treated differently from hardcore criminals. They can get away with doing what they're doing, and then you've got people in the court at the gallery shouting about it's all lies, there's no evidence. Well, there is evidence, because it's my understanding video evidence has been submitted and other evidence. And what about the statements for the people that's been abused? Do they not count? That's terrible. I'm really angry with the sentences.
I'm really angry, guys. So
the sentences are not enough, unjust and unfair to the people that's been abused and all the rest of it. These people should be locked up for life and the key should be flung away. That's all I've got to say. And people need to waken up to the amount of problems that the people abuse. The abuse that's going on in Scotland, the trafficking of sons and daughters. It needs to stop. People need to waken up. People are not paying attention to this. It's rife in the lands of Scotland and it needs to stop.
Right, guys, I'm just going to say another wee word. Like, I'm absolutely disgusted. 5 years the kids have been heavy tortured. 5 years they went through police statements, video statements, gain evidence, etc, etc. 5 years of total torture for their children. 5 years have been separated for their siblings for their children. And now the oldest child isn't allowed access to her 2 younger siblings. Like, this is just disgusting. That wee lassie's been tortured. That lassie is really unwell. And I don't want to disclose too much of her personal information as it's gone on TikTok. But this will affect that lassie for the rest of her life. And it's also down to the lassie to put certain stuff out, right? I could say a lot more here, but I'm not going to. But the thing is, not one of them in there were accepting that they did anything wrong. And it's just, to me, that's disgusting. But that's your sentencing being passed, guys. Bearing in mind as well, the satanic ritual stuff. These people made these children take part in witchcraft, wore capes, wore masks. The Waynes made reference to them as witches and wizards, held them down to be raped. So while they were on a circle with cloaks and masks on, with Ouija boards, summoning demons, what do you think that's done to these kids for the rest of their life? These Waynes believed that they were morphing into animals. That's what they done to these Waynes' heads. These Waynes were running about thinking that they were dogs and cats because these animals had them that drugged out their head with that many substances that the Waynes didn't know what they were. The Waynes didn't know what was happening, and they're terrified of witches and wizards casting spells on them. I mean, the Waynes have got to live with that for the rest of their life. So guys, that's what I'm going to say, because I'm going to get angry and probably say stuff that I shouldn't. But these kids are going to be affected for the rest of their lives, and it's also going to affect one of them ever being able to have a family. So I'll just leave it at that. One of these children already can't have a family. Right guys, I'm away and I'll maybe come back after when I've calmed down, Robert. But we need to make changes in this country. That's not acceptable and that's not justice. That is not justice for the children. And like I said, the children's voices, the truth, for their side of the story has never been told. So one day I'll come on and tell you the full story, the children's side of the story and what they want everybody to know that they went through. But it was far more than what was portrayed in there. So again guys, I'm going to go, and you've probably no doubt seen this in the news and stuff. There's the reporters and stuff are all here. So we came to give the children's a voice today. Woo. And that was just well. Right, Robert?
Right.
So guys, wake up call.
Smell the coffee, people. We need to stop the abuse of children in Scotland.
And we don't have a justice system, as it's just been pretty proven. Right guys.